I think it is important that any parent takes time out for themselves.
Mm.
Like, again, I know we're talking about motherhood here, but like mothers, yes, and also fathers. Like, I do think it's important that as individuals, we're still people at the end of the day. We still need that quiet time to ourselves, not to say that spending time with your kids and doing fun activities as a family isn't great. It absolutely is fantastic, but it's also good to take, that time for yourself, whether that's just going for a walk, 20, 30 minutes just to get a little bit of inner peace and calm in your own day, or if it's going for a run or painting or doing whatever it is that you have your own little quiet space for yourself. I think that also helps you to become a better parent and a better mother, father, whatever, because I think that just makes you better.
Hi, EnvisionAirs. Welcome to the EnvisionAir podcast. This is the podcast where we envision living our best lives, ones filled with unlimited possibilities, by exploring everyday topics related to health, wealth, community, and love. This podcast is for information purposes only and should not be considered to be medical, legal, tax, financial, or other professional advice.
This podcast does not encourage or endorse any illegal activity.
We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liability that may arise from the information in this podcast.
The views explored in the podcast may not always be those of the host.
So we are officially kicking off season 5 today. I am so grateful that we have reached this huge milestone. So thank you, EnvisionAirs, for being part of this journey. As we've just celebrated International Women's Day, and in the UK it was Mother's Day, I figured it was a great opportunity to focus on the love pillar of the podcast and to honor 2 women who I love very much and I think are very wonderful mothers. So I am very happy to have my mother, Elizabeth, who has been an incredible mom for over 40 years, and my sister, Tanya, also known as Tan, who has been a mom for nearly 3 years on the EnvisionAir podcast. I wanted them to come on to talk about their journey into motherhood and share any words of wisdom they might have about being moms. So, particularly for listeners like me who don't have children yet, but may do so in the future. So a very, very, very warm welcome to Mom and Tan. Welcome to the EnvisionAir podcast.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Nikki.
Very happy to be here and to share my journey of motherhood and to your followers and your EnvisionAirs and everyone else out there.
Amazing. Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you, and thank you so much for being on here. So I know some listeners are going to know you guys, which is great, but some may not. So do you want to introduce yourselves and tell us what motherhood means to you guys?
So, as you know, I'm Elizabeth, and I've been a mother for 42 years. And
Not yet.
Tan is my first daughter on March 10th. Gonna make me 42 years being a mother. And Nicole, of course, my second daughter, came along 3.5 years after. And what a joyous occasion they both were. They become the love of my life, the joy of my life, and to share, what being a mother is and how it's been over the years. To me, motherhood is a joyous occasion. It's a joyful event, and although there are ups and downs, being a mother, like sleepless nights, tiring, but when you look at your baby and you see how wonderful that smile is coming from them, it's the greatest joy that one can ever experience. And so it was just a feat and a joy having both of you in my life. And yeah, it's also difficult. Like there are times when obviously, nothing is easy, nothing comes easy. Everything has, challenges in life. And some of the, the few challenges of being a mother is trying to juggle everything, sleepless nights, being tired often. And especially nowadays when, mothers are out in the workforce now and they have to go back out to work, it's hard juggling, being a mother and also being in the workplace. So those are some of the challenges, but it's not like, difficult, and nobody's saying it's easy either, but it's joyful having a child. And yeah, so that's my little journey.
Beautiful. I love that. That's so nice. And Tan, why don't you tell the listeners about yourself and what motherhood means to you?
Yeah. So, hi, EnvisionAirs. I'm really happy to be here. So, my name is Tanya. I'm like Ningen. I'm mom of two boys, twins. What can I say about motherhood? I mean, for me, it's busy. It's very busy. My little ones are almost 3 and they definitely keep me busy. But I find that motherhood is also, it's a wonderful experience, but I find that it doesn't just define me as an individual. I think that's just sort of one chapter among many, that in my life, a beautiful chapter, obviously, but it is a chapter. I think it adds so much richness and joy, as mom said, to your life, but it also teaches you other things like patience and tranquility and the appreciation of silence. But it's amazing and it's really nice. My kids are amazing, and there's always ups and downs, but it's definitely a good time, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So yeah.
Nice, Dan. Good. Well, why don't we talk a bit about the journey into motherhood? And when I was preparing for this interview, I thought to myself, I've never actually asked you guys the question, but did you always want to be mothers? Like when you were children, were you like, I really want to be a mom? Like, is that something you thought about?
For me, no. I never really thought about that growing up. I obviously never thought about I want to be a mom. No, I didn't. I wanted to finish my education. I wanted to travel. And basically, that was it for me.
Okay.
But as I was getting older and approaching like 30, yeah, it kind of rang a bell in my head. Oh. And then I was getting pressure from my siblings, you're 30, what's going on? Like, come on, so you get that kind of pressure on the side. And then it makes you think, oh yeah, right. So for me, that was a bell,
Uh-huh.
going off at that time. So, but it wasn't
Did,
like anything prior to that, like wanting to be a mom.
did you, did
I
mom, did your mom ever kind of put that pressure on you? Did your grandma?
no, she never. She never. My mother and my father, they always, pushed education more than anything else, in the world. So that was their top priority. And so
Yeah.
when I had my kids, obviously, I did have my kid, you and Tanya, and your father, we always pushed education too, and good values and, good manners and respectful to everyone. So those are the values I know I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but um,
Yeah. Okay. And Tan, what about you? How
Um,
did you always want to be a mom?
I don't think it was necessarily about like being a mom. I think it's just like I love my family, like obviously you guys. And I love our family unit. Obviously, not obviously, but those who know us, we have a really big family. So for me, like I love being part of our family, like our single unit family, but also our bigger, wider unit family, right? The Ningyens, and the Ramdens, and like when we get together and it's a real big party, like for me, I absolutely love that. So for me, family was really, really important. So I knew that I would love to have a family. I think that's probably something, not that it was, let's say, a guiding light at all in terms of my childhood, not at all. Like I think mom and dad always sort of, let's say, gave us a bit of a push towards education and making and giving us very good values growing up, in terms of, getting your education and staying in school and doing good things and being good in the community, et cetera, et cetera. I think for me, it was more like, I would really like to have a family, because it's just, again, holidays are, my favorite. My favorite is Christmas, and I just absolutely love getting together with a big family, having a big meal together, enjoying laughter and just being with each other. So for me, I think it was more that aspect rather than saying motherhood or parenthood or something like that.
Interesting. So was there like a specific moment? Was it more like in adulthood that you decided you wanted to be a mom, or was it ever since you were a kid?
Um, I mean, no. I mean, I think, how do I answer that? It's like, I don't think that there's like a moment in my life where I was like, ding, time to have babies. Like, not really. It was, again, like I said, I think because focus was always a bit like, get a good education, get a good, go into a good career. And I did all of that. And I think the natural, when I met my husband, I think the natural thing was like, should we start a family? Like, again, it wasn't like, should we have babies and then just procreate? It was just like, should we actually extend our values and what we think and the family or the life that we've built rather, should we, add to that as like bringing an extension of ourselves into the world, right? And so that's where we're like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. This will be fun. And
Yeah.
that's good.
So for you, Tan, that it was more like when you got married, that was when it felt right, maybe to actually, you were like, okay, I think I'm ready now for that.
I mean, I think there was like a culmination of, I think, of various things. Like, I think for me, I was like, oh, well, career is going well. And yeah, I've got that sort of a bit of that settlement, So I was like, let's add another, exciting chapter to this whole thing. And,
Yeah.
kids will, they kind of turn your life upside down. What you were doing before you had children is much different than when you have kids because you have to adapt, right? Not everybody, but we did, and I wanted to. It's definitely a little bit different our day to day now than rather than,
hmm
before children. So
So, Tan, you were saying that it was basically when you got married, you felt like you and your husband had made the decision that you guys were ready to, create this legacy in a way for your family, which is really beautiful. And mom, you mentioned that you had siblings that were really kind of sharing their views about you. You starting your own family, and you were the baby of the family. So is that right? Like that was probably in and around your 30s. You felt maybe mentally ready at that point in time.
Correctly. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the pressure of friends and siblings, like kind of pushing me on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you just went with it. You just went with
And
it.
I just went with it.
Okay. Okay. So different. Yeah. Okay. Lack of agency, but that's okay. That's good. It worked out well for everyone. Okay. So what was your biggest fear then before you, if you had any, before you entered motherhood? Did you guys have any fears?
No, I didn't have any fear.
None?
No, I didn't have any fears.
Wow.
No, because I don't know. I never had any fears. Did you have any fears?
no, I mean, I think it was, yeah, not really. I think
No.
you just kind of say, okay, well, this is happening. So there's
Yeah.
no turning back
Yeah,
at that point.
exactly.
You're pregnant,
Interesting.
so you just go with it.
Yeah, let's go with the flow. Yeah.
That's
I
so
remember
funny.
seeing my gynecologist, and he was telling me, "Oh, so you're pregnant? Go home. You and your husband go home and have a glass of wine." And I said, "Wine? Are you supposed to be drinking when you're pregnant?" He says, "Oh, you can have a glass of wine. That's fine. Just one glass."
That's hilarious.
fine.
Oh, well, so you didn't have to worry about, I guess, well, you're not really a big drinker, so you didn't really have to worry
No,
about,
no,
not
no.
drinking.
It's just
Yeah.
a matter of celebration,
Yes,
at the
yes, yeah, yeah.
time. So yeah, so that's when I got
Interesting.
pregnant with
Yeah, yeah,
Tanya.
yeah.
That's when I
Aw,
got pregnant.
so nice. I guess because we have some listeners I know who listen, and well, just us friends too that I've talked with, and sometimes they worry about things like, "Oh, am I going to have time for myself? Is my body going to change? Like, what does this mean for like, my future self? Am I going to lose all of like the liberties that I have?" And so, I don't know. You had none of those issues, none of those worries, none of those concerns.
Well, I mean, I think it's natural to think that like, oh, things are going to change, because they will change. I mean, I think that's the reality of it is, I mean, unless, I mean, again, it is what you make it to be, right? I mean, there are some people who say, no, I won't. And and they have a lot of support around them, whether that's grandparents, other family members who take, or nannies, etc. And because there's I guess a need or a want to have, to be able to give themselves that liberty, which is great. Again, everybody has to make their own decisions on their own family unit, right? So I mean, if there's always some, let's say, I mean, yeah, I mean, you always, let's say, not, it's not, I don't want to call it a fear though. I would just say, like, you want to be a good mother, like, you want to be a good parent in general. Like, I think any parent wants to be a good parent. Or at least I would assume so. I can't talk for everybody. At least from my side, I want to be a good parent. So I think there is that, let's say, yeah, that want or that need to do that. But I don't think it's a fear. I think it's more just like you just want to make sure that you're always doing good things for your kids.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
hope that makes
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. But well, so do you feel like that idea, that kind of overarching like goal of wanting to always do good for your child and do the best that you can to help them in life, do you think that was like a warranted, now that you have had children, do you think that that's like an achievable goal? Do you think that that's something that you continue to think about every day?
I mean, again, I think that there's this, let's say there's this conception out there, misconception, let's say, and I think everybody sort of has that. Like, I find it's actually quite funny if you look on like Instagram or social media these days. It's kind of like a bit of a joke. It's like, you know, what you think parenthood or motherhood is like, and it's like you're in this beautiful dress and your hair is made up, and and your kids are eating properly at the table, and everything is amazing. Everyone's singing and holding hands. It's like, no, this is not reality. Reality is messy, and it changes day to day. And one day, it's everyone's, everything's fine, the house is clean, and then 5 minutes later everything's upside down, and everything that you just cleaned is, one of your kids is sick all over the place, and that's just what it is, and that's life, right? So I think that this picture perfect, or at least the pressure of being picture perfect all the time and seeing all these beautiful images on social media, or of these kind of, and some people, good for them, they can do it because they might also have a lot of help, which is lovely and good for them. But I just think, for me personally, I'm just like, I don't want to add that pressure to myself. I
Yeah.
think, let's say, me before kids was probably like, oh yeah, that's going to be me. I'm definitely going to
Mhm.
have like my kids in like pressed clothes every day, matching outfits, going out. And no, and then now I'm just like, it's great. Like, they're wearing clean clothes and they're ready to go. And they've, they're out the door. We're out the door on time. And I'm like, win. Like, that's a big win today. And that's
Yeah.
okay. And I'm You know what I mean? So, I think in one of your previous, podcasts, which was actually really refreshing to hear, there was, I think, a nutritionist who was on who was saying about, how ready-made foods,
Yeah.
that are and easy to use. And I completely 100% champion that. For me, I'm just like, yes, absolutely. I do not have time to hand make, purees for my children. I would love to, but that's
Yeah.
just not reality. And there are, thankfully, some excellent alternatives out there. And I'm just as good of a mother by giving them something like that,
Yeah.
instead of hand making myself. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't
Sure.
make me any less of a parent, or anyone else out there less of a parent for using that,
Yeah.
so anyway, so it's just like things like that where I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. Like, and my kids are happy and they love it. So,
And did you always have that, or was there a turning point, like when you went back to work, or was that always something you had even when they were like just born?
oh no, when they were just born, I was making hand making everything. And then I think I got to the point around 6 months, when I was like, No, I can't keep making," well, not 6 months. I think they started eating solids between 4 to 6 months, but like probably around 8 months, where I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I'm just like, I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
I don't have enough hours in the day to hand make puree and go to the farmer's market and buy like fresh fruit. Like, so, and then, you walk down the baby aisle and then you see these like, oh, organically made and, excellent in all these different vitamins. And I'm just like, that's great. I'm like, they're
Yeah.
going to have, strawberry banana puree today, and that's okay. And they absolutely adore it. I think that's the point too, right? It's like,
Mm.
are completely fine with it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
makes you find like, be like, okay,
Yeah,
then that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, love that.
The time with my kids playing a game than slaving over the stove trying to make puree that they probably won't eat, to be honest, because they'd rather get the pouch because it's in a fun little, pouch instead of just eating it from a bowl. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, Tan. Yeah, and that was Jackie's episode that you're referring to when
yeah,
she said that. Yeah, she was
yes,
so funny, and
exactly.
she's so
Yeah.
good. She's so full of knowledge, and she's so fun, and, she's got a great energy, so, yeah. So, Mom, what has
Yes.
motherhood taught you about yourself?
Okay. Mother has taught me to be patient. It has taught me how to give unconditional love. It has taught me inner strength. It has taught me how to be strong, how to juggle things in life, how to manage and cope, with the and how to face the some difficulties, in life. Because everyone, I think, has some kind of strength in them. And it has taught me that strength that was in me came out, that I didn't even know I had. And mentally and physically. And so that is something, being a mother, I think, has taught me.
That's beautiful. I love that. And you
Mm,
are all those things. You have always been
yeah.
so patient. I know Tan and I can probably attest to this, but you've been strong. You've shown us how to be strong. You've taught us about like life. You've been like my like life teacher in that way. You've taught me about patience, unconditional love, kindness, compassion. So you definitely embody all of those things. And I'm so glad that that was part of your experience as a mother. So, and Tan, what has motherhood taught you about life?
I mean, obviously patience. But I mean, I think in life, just like the unexpected, you know what I mean? Like whatever you think is going to happen, it definitely isn't. So, and I think you have to be ready to be flexible in that sense. I think for me, I'm a very type A personality. I like things done in a certain way. And I think after having kids, I'm just like, yeah, it's good enough. Like, it's clean enough. It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's, I mean, having a 2-year-old throw a tantrum because they absolutely want to wear a Mickey Mouse shirt, or they absolutely need to have like a head of garlic when you're at the grocery store. I'm just like, sure, that's fine. Like, you kind of just roll with it. So I think it's taught me a little bit of just that flexibility and ease in life. That we were just kind of like, let's just go with it. Instead of being like, it absolutely has to be a certain way of doing things. I mean, I am still in a sense like that, at least with my work hat on, but I would say at my family life, I'm a bit more just like, that's fine. It's good enough. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you want to wear your pants on backwards, do it. It's okay. You're not hurting anybody, so I
Yeah.
think that's my biggest thing. Yeah.
That's
Go with the
awesome.
flow.
Go with the flow. Exactly. Go with the
Yeah.
flow.
I love that. And what
Yeah.
do you think, for both of you, what's the biggest challenge you've faced being a mom, and how have you overcome that?
I don't know. I think being a mom and having to work and having to put your children through, daycare, and because you have to go back out to work for some reason. I had to go back out to work because after I had Tanya, I had postpartum blues and suffered a bout of OCD. And anyway, that was a chapter in my life that my doctor compelled me to go back out to work.
Mhm.
And so I went back out to work earlier than expected. And so I would tell anybody out there, if they have to go back out to work, you can do it. It might be hard at the beginning, but daycare can be a blessing. Right? Staying at home may not be the best option for everybody. And for me, it wasn't. So I had to, bite the bullets and go back into the workplace.
Do you think that was
Yeah.
good for your mental health?
Yeah, it was good for my mental health. My doctor thought it was, so
Yeah.
I had to do it. And yeah, babies grow up, right? They don't
Mhm.
stay babies all the time. And
Mhm.
daycare is good. It's very good, actually. It helps, a child, with their social skills and with other skills that staying at home may not always give you that option, or the kids that option. So I think, the kids are better off in most cases, socializing, with other kids, learning other activities from a young age.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes them, and it makes, the kids, I think, a better person. It made both of you
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
who you are
Sure.
today.
Sure. And what about?
But
Oh,
as a parent, you always have to be, there with them. Somebody has to be home picking them up and being home with them. And my father used to do the pickup. I used to drop off. So the cooperation of both parents, I think, is important for the
yeah.
child. So
Yeah.
having a child it's easy if you get the cooperation of both parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not
But
difficult. It's not that
and you had
difficult.
that, so that's good.
And I had that, yeah. You
Yeah.
guys had that too. So
Yeah. Must be hard. I think as like if you're as a single mom, it's
as a
probably
single
or
mother,
single
that's a different
parent.
story. Single
Yeah.
parent, that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as I say, it takes a village to raise a child.
Mm.
So if being a single parent, I think it's important that you have help. You get help from family, friends, neighbors, but people who you can trust with your child, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that is also difficult for a single parent.
Yeah. But like you said, I'm sure you would advise any single parent that, they have that inner strength in them that they can tap into.
And they do have an inner strength in them
Mhm.
that they don't know that they have.
Mhm.
But in times of, difficulties, in times of, stressful situations, there's a hero in there and it can come out. It is strong.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
I love that.
women are very strong, and women are very strong. That's a skill that they have, and some of them don't know how strong they are. Anyway, that's my
Beautiful.
advice.
Love it. Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. And Tan, What about you? What's one of the biggest challenges you've faced? Obviously, I'm sure you have many years and various challenges, but so far, what's been the biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in terms of challenges, like let's say motherhood, parenthood, I don't think it's just moms that face this, but like, I think, you know, balancing work. I mean, I'm a working mom. Um, and being able to have that opportunity to work. I like working, to be honest. So and I have a really great career, and I'm very lucky to have a career that I absolutely love doing. And so for me, being able to still have that and still be able to be a mom and having that balance,
Mm.
to be able to be a successful career woman and to also be a good mom and parent. I think for me, that was a challenge at the beginning, because it's like, for during your maternity leave, you are mom, right? You are 24/7 with your kids, just being mom. And then you switch and you go to work, and you're like, it's a bit destabilizing at the beginning, because they're just like, how do I kind of divide myself into one and then another? And then you start to realize, you know what? You shouldn't have to. At least for me, it was a learning process to be like, no, I'm a mom now. I'm a parent now, and therefore, that's just part of who I am. Do you know what I mean? And so if I'm at work and my kids are sick, um, you know, I'm plan A. I stay home with the kids, and or I tag team with my husband, and he, we have to manage. Both of us have to manage to be like, okay, well, I have an important meeting, so do I. How do we do this? Okay, well, the priority is obviously our family, and our child is our sick child. Therefore, trying to manage that in a, let's say, a world that goes so fast, and corporate world nowadays, especially with technology, it's just everything is go 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 go. And so, but also to have that confidence to be like, no, it's time out, like, or I'm sorry, I can't attend this meeting, or I can't do this because I have a sick child at home. And so that is very challenging, I would say. I think for any working
Mm.
parent, that's a real massive challenge, in terms of, yeah, parenthood, motherhood. Um, Another was also just trying to find my own time for myself. Again, like going back to a little bit of like before you had kids, like, before I had kids on a weekend, I would have a nice lay-in, and I would just relax, get up, have a nice brunch, easy peasy, go do some grocery shopping, maybe get a massage, get my nails done, my hair. Now it's like I have to plan that out a few weeks in advance almost, and coordinate a little bit, with mom or grandmas or,
Yeah.
husband, and be like, I'm going to sleep in that, next Saturday. I'm going to go
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
all of these errands. You
Yeah.
need to take the kids. And so, yeah, it's just, I mean, again, it's a challenge, but it's not like a huge hurdle or anything. It's just more like, you just got to get good at planning.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so I would say those two probably areas, but I think, and if I just wanted to wrap up that last point, I think it is important that any parent takes time out for themselves.
Mm.
Like, again, and I know we're talking about motherhood here, but like mothers, yes. And also fathers. Like,
Mhm.
do you think it's important that as individuals, we're still people at the end of the day? We still need that quiet time, to ourselves, not to say
Mhm.
that spending time with your kids and doing fun activities as a family isn't great. It absolutely is fantastic, but it's also good to take, that time for yourself, whether that's just
Mhm.
going for a walk, 20, 30 minutes, just to get a little bit of inner peace and calm in your own day. Or
Yeah.
if it's going for a run or painting or doing whatever it is that you have your own little quiet space
Mm.
for yourself. I think that also helps you to become a better parent and a better, mother, father, whatever.
Mhm.
Because I think that just makes you better.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'm hearing boundaries at the office. I'm hearing organization in like family life and maybe self care. Those are sort of ways that you've been able to overcome some of the challenges that you just
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, again, I do think it's like I do think I've been quite lucky in sort of each of those areas because I've always had a very good support system throughout. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Good family support system, but also good colleagues, at work. Not every company is understanding, unfortunately, of working mothers, of working
Yeah.
fathers, anybody, it's like, well, if you have a career, you can't have a family. And I don't agree with that at
Mm.
all. Like, I do believe that, not that you could have it all, but like, I believe that there's balance. I do believe that you can do these um, make amazing steps in your career and do great things, and also have an amazing family at home that you're raising. And I don't think that you have to um, give away any of that, as
Yeah.
long as you have the right support system, right?
And what if someone, so you're obviously in a senior position in your role. Um, what would you advise? Let's say there is like someone listening who does not have that supportive work environment and they are a parent. What advice would you give them as someone who is in a leadership role?
I mean, I think it goes back to like, I actually just did recently something around allyship, training on allyship, and and I think that this was actually something interesting. It's to say like there is always, or at least I think that there should be, but I believe that anywhere in any company there will be a working parent. I find, like, do you know what I mean? Somebody who understands you, who is in a position of power. And so I would say try to find that person, try to talk to them, use them as either a mentor or as a leader to lean on, because I'm sure that they have, they weren't always in a position of power, right? And I think that they would be very sort of understanding and flexible, to that point. I mean, not to, let's say, abuse that relationship in any way, but to just, I would say that there is always somebody who is willing, especially nowadays, to be an ally for working parents, for working mothers. And if there aren't, then, to be honest, I know it's hard to say, and maybe I'm in a position of power and privilege. I would say try to find a company that matches your values.
Mhm.
Because I think now more than ever nowadays, there are companies out there that are pushing people forward and are there. Not only are they, let's say, making money, but they are also representing and defending and protecting their workers and their families, etc. So I would say, try to find that ally if you can. And
Yeah.
if not, try to find that company that is willing to match the same values that you have.
Love that. Amazing. And mom, let's wrap up with some wisdom from you. So
Wisdom.
yeah, well, if you could give
Wisdom.
listeners, any advice that you on parenthood, what would you say? You're 40 plus years in now to being a mother and a parent.
Okay. What I would say is, I mean, lots of friends and families and neighbors have asked me the same thing over the years, right? Like, what advice? Your kids are doing so well and they've done so well. What have you done different? And what are you doing to have such wonderful kids? And I said the same thing over and over. My kids are not so much different from your kids. However, what I did, I enrolled my kids in extracurriculum activities. Taught them good values in life, good manners, good, I always insisted there wouldn't be mall kids. You're not allowed to go to the malls and hang out with bad company. You know, I enrolled you guys in extracurriculum activities. And just be there for your kids whenever and wherever you can. Be always there with your kids.
Yeah.
For me, bedtime was always important, and no matter how tired I am, I always had to read you guys a book every night, and it was something that I think your kids will cherish. And the time that you spend with them, they will cherish that forever.
Mhm.
So always have somebody there with your kids, whether it can be you or your husband, somebody should always be there with your kids so that they'll have somebody to talk to go to when they come from school, and so that's the wisdom I would impart. And how I raised you guys is what I would tell everybody.
Yeah.
Whether, as I say, everybody has their own journey in life. Everybody has their own, way and their path that they have to follow. We all have a journey, the way how I taught my kids may not be the right way you want to teach your kids. But if you ask me what I did different, it's not really different from what you can do, but these are the things I did with my kids.
Yeah.
So, and when, it was funny, I always tell this story about when I had a parents and teachers, meeting. And some of the parents, they told me, Mrs. Ningen, if all the kids in this school were like your kids, what a wonderful school this would be. I mean, that was the greatest compliment. That was the greatest compliment I could ever.
Whose teacher? Which teacher was that? Was that my teacher? It must have been my teacher.
I don't your teacher too.
I think it was my teacher.
And because you guys, as I said, I don't know. It's like,
yeah.
Well, that's
but that's
really
a good point, Mom. Like, I think that's so important. Like, honestly, like just being present.
Just being present there for your kid when they come from school. Let them teach, let them, tell them, ask them how was the day.
Yeah.
Talk to them, have open communication with them.
Yeah.
And this is something, parents should always talk to their kids.
No, exactly. I mean,
know exactly where the kids are.
Yeah, I mean, knowing where your kids are, yeah, but like I think also just like being present, meaning like put your phone down and sit down and have like play with your kids. I mean, there's only a certain number of years exactly until they don't want to until they don't want to come down and sit down and play with you and talk with you anymore. I think there's a number out there. It's like something like you get 13 Christmases with Santa, and then you get like or up to that or something like that, and then you get like up to 10 summers or something like that, where they want to go on summer holidays with you, et cetera, et cetera. So it goes really, really quickly. So I think just being able to be present in their lives and playing with them and hanging out with them, and your kids, you're their entire world. So it's like, it's really, really good fun to be able to spend some time with them and just be present in there.
And those are moments the kids will cherish forever. Honestly, they will. And they will always remember that. Yeah. So it's very important that the parents spend those quality times, with their children.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Love it. Beautiful. Aw, well, thank you so much, you both, for all this advice, and it was so beautiful. Well, now we're moving on to the EnvisionAir questionnaire, which is a fun feature of the podcast where we ask guests to reflect on their past, present, and future. So, are you guys ready? We'll do like a rapid fire.
Yeah.
Rapid fire.
Like one each.
No, you both answer. You both answer. Okay. So, looking at your past, reflecting on your past, what is one piece of advice you would give your 15-year-old self?
Ooh, fun one. 15. All right. 15-year-old, where was I? I would say just, everything happens for a reason. Just keep going, I think, for me at 15, I was competitive swimmer. And I was like just trying to qualify for nationals at the time. And I think it was a bit of a bumpy road around there. I think I had like just missed it a few times over. So for me, I think I would just keep telling myself, I would tell that 15-year-old, just keep going, keep working hard. Everything's going to come into place. Everything is going to happen for a reason. These challenges are there to make you stronger. So just keep putting your head down and focusing and doing the work. And good things are going to come to you.
I know it has come to you. Now good things have come to her.
Great things have
come to her.
Yeah, I love it. Amazing. Thanks, Tan. What about you, Mom? What advice would you give your 15-year-old self?
At that time, I was, education, I guess my parents were always pushing that. I would say, don't be afraid to put your best foot forward. always, always put your best foot forward in whatever you do, and don't be shy about it.
Yeah. Aw.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were
Okay.
shy when you were 15?
I was. Yeah, I was at that time. I was sheltered. I was the youngest of 7 and I was sheltered.
So you wish you would have been a little bit more putting yourself out there.
I wish I was a little bit more. Yeah. But
Aw.
you know what? As I say, all things work out for the best. So,
Yeah. And now you're not shy. You're the opposite.
and now I'm not shy. No.
No, it's good. It's good. Okay. So reflecting on your present, if you could have dinner with anyone in the world,
Ooh.
who would it be
Ooh.
and why?
You want me to go? I would have liked to have dinner with the Queen of England, but she has
Oh.
passed because
Right.
I always wanted to meet her since I
Yeah.
was born around the time when she was coronated.
That's
And
true.
that was my thing. I wanted to go to a tea party, but I never got that
know.
opportunity.
I'm
She
sorry.
passed. And
I know.
but going forward, I am an avid globetrotter now. I
Yeah.
travel a lot.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in Switzerland.
That's
I'm
true.
visiting Tanya.
Yeah.
I was in England visiting you in December.
Yeah.
I've
And so,
traveled, I've traveled a lot.
So who do you want to
and,
have dinner with now instead?
Who
because
do
you're
I
a
want to have
traveler.
dinner now?
You're a traveler.
I'm a traveler. Who do I want to have dinner now instead? The people who I really wanted to have dinner now have all passed. So
Okay.
I never thought about anybody now. I would
All
like
right, well,
to
that's
Just
fine. No,
one.
we can take that. We can take that. It can be someone, alive or not alive. Who's passed. That's fine. So the Queen. Well, maybe one day you'll have with, I don't know. I'm hopeful, like maybe Prince William or something. So you never know.
long shot, huh?
Yeah, you never know.
One day.
One day, maybe
Yeah.
one day. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tan?
Oh, good question. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if I would want to do anything like any kind of like celebrity.
Yeah, it can be anyone. It could be like family, it could be friends.
Yeah, I think I honestly, going back to my earlier comment, like I love family dinners. So for me, it would be like, I think just getting all of my family together around like a big, Christmas table. That's for me is good enough. I'm good with
Aw,
that.
nice. Love that. Okay, looking at your future, what's one goal you want to achieve in the next 5 years?
I would like to travel the world.
Okay.
Well, you're
I thought
on
you were
your
already
way.
doing that.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
But
I
are you
just
saying
have
like
to go
all the
more
continents?
places. All the continents.
Okay, even Antarctica?
Not Antarctica. Accept that. I don't like the cold. North or south. Too far south and too far north. No.
Okay.
Anywhere in between that is good.
Okay. So what about Australia?
I would love to go to Australia.
Okay. Because you said too
Australia.
hot. You said
Yes.
too hot and too cold. So I was thinking, oh, but Australia's hot. But
Yeah,
anyway, it's so beautiful. So anyway, okay,
it's
so
good.
Australia. Yeah, good. And Tan,
Gotcha.
Goals for myself in the next few years. I've got a lot of goals, to be honest.
what's one you want to share?
Oh goodness. It's funny. I've heard some of these on your podcast, and I was always like, I'm always on a run when I'm listening to this, and I'm always like, I wonder what mine are. And I start listing all these things, but oof, what do I say? A goal for myself. You know what? I think it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen anyways. I would actually. It's not even really like a, how do you say, a big career goal or anything like that, or at least the one I'm going to share is more family oriented, just because it's like we're talking about families here and mothers and all that.
Mhm.
I think I'd like to take my kids and my family back to Canada on just a big trip, not necessarily to move over there, but like just to get them, learn about their history, learn a bit about themselves, their family, et cetera, et cetera. Like I would love that. I think that's something that I would like for my kids in the next 5 years, is for us to go over there and appreciate and understand, especially our older aunts and uncles, et cetera, who are
Yeah.
getting older. For me, that's really, really important, is to like learn from, where you came from.
Yeah.
So I would love to be able to have them know that generation of family and to get close to that and
I love that.
and to just our extended family in Canada. So yeah.
Amazing. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you both, Mom and Tan, for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you guys sharing everything you did about motherhood. And obviously, if I can be half the moms you are, then I'll be very happy with myself. But yeah, I just love you guys so much. So thank you for being on here. And if any listeners want to connect with you guys, what's the best way for them to do that?
LinkedIn.
Yeah. So just Tanya Heimlich Ningen or
Yep,
yeah.
exactly. And I can provide you that.
Yeah, yeah.
link
I'll put that in. I'll put that in the show notes. And Mom,
Super.
is Instagram the
They can
best
follow
way?
me on Instagram. Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, Mom's
I
trying to
will
get to like 1 million
share all
followers.
my photos. I will share all my photos of my travels.
Love it.
Yes, yes. I love it. That's amazing. Yes, I'll put those show
Yes.
notes, that information in the show notes as well. But yeah, no, it's going to be great.
I have to get started on it though. I have everything together. It's just to put it on Instagram now.
Yeah, you're gonna be big. You're gonna be amassing a big.
That's
following,
my that's my big goal right now.
Love it.
Amazing. Good. All right. Well, thanks you guys again, and lots of love, and see you guys soon.
Thanks, Nicole. You're going great. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
having us.
Mwah. Oh, I love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks everyone for listening to the EnvisionAir podcast. Make sure that you like and subscribe to this podcast so that you stay up to date on all of our new episodes.